Have you ever wondered, is investing in the stock market a bit like gambling or playing the lottery? If that is a question that you have, stay tuned. I have some answers for you. Before I start on this video, I want to remind you that I have a free workshop that is available to you by clicking on the link in the description box below this video. It's about 90 minutes long. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just trying to offer you some insight and different ways that I think, and to help you possibly think in different ways yourself. The coverage includes a lot of different areas. Of course, I talk about the financial markets in general and a little bit about the stock market itself. I also cover sports. I'm a big fan of sports. Music. I've been playing music since I was very young. And I also talk about professional and personal relationships. The goal of this workshop is to help you to think in either new or different ways, as well as for you to get to know me and my style. If you were to take pretty much any person and ask them a question, what is the one biggest problem that you have in your life? And it could be a variety of different things. Maybe problems with a relationship. Maybe you have a job that you don't really like. A related question can be, why do you have that job? Because I need the money. I have to have an income. We have obligations. We have things that we have to do each day because we need to be the providers for our families. Whether you are a father, a mother, perhaps a single mother, it falls upon us to provide for our families. We have to do that. One of the things that can produce an awful lot of stress is not having enough money. Of course, we think money is the answer, and that just having more will solve all of our problems. People going back as far as history have always battled with this problem. We want to be able to have enough money to do the things that we want to do, and also have the freedom to go where we want to go and to be who we want to be. And a big question that we ask ourselves is, what is keeping us from doing that? And a lot of the times it will be a lack of money. So how can I get a big payoff right now with little risk and no effort? That's what everybody wants. It may sound really simple. It may sound possible. You might have even heard stories about where this has happened to people. The reality is much different. One way is to go to Las Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. If you're into gambling or playing a lot of the different games, you might enjoy doing such things. There are different casinos with the hope of making some money. You can also buy a lottery ticket. If you think about it, the return is pretty good. You put down $1 or $2, you might get millions back in return. That's a pretty good return on your investment. However, a better question that we should always ask ourselves is, why do we invest? Do we invest because we believe in a product, or we believe in a company, or we see an opportunity? We can invest in a company. Those funds will be used to help that company grow, and we feel that that's very patriotic or a very benevolent thing to do. A lot of people, they want to invest just to make some money. They don't really care about the investment itself. They just want the opportunity to buy it for $1, sell it for $10 in 3 weeks with no risk and no problems. The real world just doesn't work that way. Of course, we invest to make money. There are a lot of different kinds of investments out there, and there's more becoming available all the time. Some of these come and go, kind of like the 8-track tape players. They were really big at one time. Now, you might see them in a museum. The same thing is true with early computers. We laugh at the computers that we used to have when we compare them to what we have now. Just think, in the future, we will laugh at what we have now. So when you make money, what does that mean to you? Everybody wants to make more money, but why? Do you want to get out of debt? Do you want to quit your job? Do you want to have a nicer Christmas for your family? Do you want to be able to travel back in the days when traveling was still allowed? Do you want to invest in projects? Do you want to be able to give money to charity or to a church? Those are all very good things. I remember reading an article a number of years ago where they talked to a lot of lottery winners. And a lot of those people, not all of them, but a lot of those people ended up cursing the day they ever bought the ticket. Because once you win the lottery, you have this big, huge avalanche of money that comes into your life, and you're not prepared for it. You don't know what to do. It's like a farmer all of a sudden wakes up one day and has a whole field full of wheat or apples, but nobody is there to take care of it. Nobody is prepared to do what needs to be done to bring in this harvest. And that's what happens with a lot of people when they win the lottery. They go from just barely getting by, if they're getting by, or enjoying a certain level of life. Then they win the lottery. They have this huge harvest that comes into them, and they don't know what to do with it. And relatives that they didn't know they had suddenly are wanting to be around them, and everybody wants to borrow money. People are treated differently. Some of you might find that enticing, but others may not find that very attractive at all. And a lot of people who've been through that say it's not a good experience. So we need to ask, what does that mean to you? If you had money, if money was no object, what things would you do? Would it be different than what you're doing now? And only you can answer that question. And I challenge you to take some time and do that. Think about things. If you go for a walk in a park or go to the beach or just sit in your car a few extra minutes, think about what would you be doing if you could do anything and money was not the issue. And then the next question after that is, are you doing that now? If the answer is no, what is keeping you from doing that? If the answer is yes, then keep going. You're doing great. A lot of people try to figure out, why are we here? What were we created to do? If you sit and really think in a sober manner about what you would be doing if you could do anything, and you come to some conclusions, you are probably really close to the reason why you were created in the first place. Personally, I believe that every person has a purpose. There is a reason why you are here right now. And for every person who's ever lived in history, they've also had a purpose. Now, a lot of people don't find their purpose. Some people might find it early in life. Others might find it later. Some never find it. Looking back at investments, when you say you want to make money in the stock market, what does that mean to you? Do you want to make money now, within the next year, over the long term, or a combination of those things? Do you want short-term gains? And short-term here is usually defined as days to weeks. Different people have different definitions of what these terms mean. Intermediate term is weeks to months, and then long-term is months to years, if not decades. Have you really thought about this? A good portfolio will have some good, solid, long-term investments. You might have some intermediate-term investments, and you may even participate in some short-term investments. You can do different things at the same time. Do you want to generate income? There are investments out there that produce monthly, quarterly, and annual income. You might invest in bonds that pay interest. You might invest in stocks that pay dividends. So the idea of buying a stock at 10 and selling it at 20, that's not the only possibility. There is the possibility of buying a stock at 10 and you don't really care if it goes to 20. You're getting a good return every month or every year based on the dividends or on the interest that you're getting from that investment, and that is your primary objective. There are also other strategies that you can use in the stock market that can produce weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annual income if you want to explore those different opportunities. Or do you want to do both? A lot of investors, they want to buy a stock at 10 and sell it at 20, but they also want to generate some income along the way. And that can be used to help offset any losses or costs that you may come across. If you get a 10% return and you bought it at 10, that's $1 per share. Well, let's say the stock falls to $9 per share. Since you received 10% already in the form of income, you're at break even at that point. So the income that you've received can be used to offset any losses. Costs can be commissions. getting in, getting out. If you buy a particular investment on margin, you have interest that you have to pay on that borrowed money. So a combination of the two can produce a good, solid portfolio. Another question that we ask, and I have other videos that talk about this, how can we keep what I've already made? Some of you watching this video, you've been investing 20, 30, 40, 50 years. We don't know what will happen in the future. We can't change what has happened in the past. We can only change and have control over what is happening today. But a lot of investors have spent their whole lives investing. You might use dollar cost averaging, where you sock away a certain amount every couple of weeks or every month, and that goes in to buy shares of stocks or mutual funds. And over a period of time, that has been allowed to grow. You keep adding to it all the time, and you're seeing good capital gains. Any income that you receive, instead of using that as income, that is getting reinvested as well. You have a really good, solid portfolio by the time you get ready to retire. What happens if things go wrong? As I record this, we're just coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic and all the lockdowns and all the mess that has produced. The economy in the US was pretty much shut down for a year. A lot of people don't have jobs anymore. A lot of people didn't have to make payments over the last year that suddenly now they're going to have to make payments. The stock market has rebounded really well, and so far, inflation hasn't become a really big problem. Corporate earnings, although they are a problem, have been adjusted, and the stock market likes what they see. What if this changes? What if a lot of the stimulus money provided by the Fed and Congress, that's going to get used up at some point? What's going to happen to the U.S. economy? We have trillions of dollars being introduced into the U.S. economy, and that can produce inflation, hyperinflation, or if prices continue to go down, that can be deflation. And as good as that sounds, deflation is worse. So don't hope for that. With the stock market at or near all-time highs and setting records all the time, everybody's a genius when it comes to the stock market. Buy low and sell high. What happens if something goes wrong? What happens if earnings don't keep up? What happens if we have another lockdown? The world has changed an awful lot in the last year. How's it going to change in the next year? Are you ready for that? If prices start to go down, are there ways that you can protect what you already have? Yes. We have insurance in life. We have car insurance, health insurance, homeowners insurance. Pretty much any kind of insurance that you can think of is available. The same is true with the stock market, and a lot of people don't realize that. There are ways that you can insure your portfolio. Sometimes you have to be a little creative with this, and sometimes it can bite into your returns. What is your focus? Do you want a stock that goes to 10, go to 20? Is that your main focus? Or you buy a stock at 10, things turn and go the other way. You have insurance, so even if the stock goes to $2 or $3 per share, you still have the ability to sell it at $10 per share. Those methods are available to you, and they're not part of some conspiracy to keep these things from you. They are readily available not only to the big players on Wall Street, but to everyday average investors and traders. Do you have a belief in the future of a country? A lot of people are very positive about where the U.S. is headed and where the world is headed. Other people, not so much. If you talk to a lot of different people, you'll get a lot of different answers. But if you have belief in the future of a country, such as the USA, or a company, whether it's a company that's just getting off the ground or a company that's been around for a while, and you believe in that company, you may want to take some of your money and invest it in that company. Do you believe in a business? Maybe they don't have stock right now, or at least publicly traded stock that's available to you, but you believe in this business. This might be the business where you work. A lot of times, employees are given stock as part of their compensation for working with a particular company. Or are there people that you believe in? There are some CEOs and company managers who are very good at what they do. You might know some of these people. They may not be household names, but you really like their style. You really believe in them, and so you are willing to invest in something that they are involved in. Or maybe it's an idea. We have all new kinds of ideas these days. It could be technology. It might be inventing a better mousetrap or a particular product. You might really like certain products that a company has. Some companies do things that we really enjoy. So just know that there is a whole world of opportunities available to you. Sometimes we get stuck thinking there's only one way to do things. Also, people find it advantageous to them to create their own portfolio in addition to maybe any retirement program that they might have. A lot of people really enjoy doing this, and they get a real patriotic feeling from investing in different products. So I hope this has helped you to understand just some questions to ask and some things to think about. So I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this. I really appreciate that. If desired, please click the like or dislike button below and leave any comments. That's what I really enjoy the most. Also, consider subscribing to this channel and then clicking on that little dingy bell so that you can be notified when a new video is posted. There is a free workshop that I talk about at the beginning of this video that you might find useful. And there's also a blog where I have articles that you can read and an audio recording of each article. That can be found at spxinvestingblog.com. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.